All right, Shalom. Coming back at it again with the part two. I have to go charge my phone. It's about to die. I'm continuing on with the live camp. We were at the book of Romans chapter 8 and 28, which is part of it gives inspiration to the spirit of this camp. That all things work together for the good of who? Of them that love Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, so let's get that real quick. All right, so Romans 8 and 28. And it reads, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love the Most High, to them who are called according to His purpose. All right, which means those that are in the truth, that are called into this thing according to His purpose. Which what's His purpose? All right, for us is to prophesy the downfall of Esau's kingdom and bid the elect to the marriage that we may be delivered. All right, and that's what He's going to do. He's going to deliver us. All right, He's going to deliver the elect. Okay, that's why when we see these things, we give glory and praises, man. All right, the Spirit kicks in, and you might feel not shocked. It may come out of nowhere, or you might just feel some type of way for lack of a better term. But when the Spirit kicks in, you understand that this is happening because we about to be delivered, man. All right, and that's what's going on. Okay, our deliverance is taking place. Esau's getting Esau's getting cast out of that power seat, and those that are next is Israel. All right, Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. All right, so going to Romans chapter 8 and 28 once again, and it reads, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love the Most High, to them who are called according to His purpose. Okay, and that's what it is, man. All right, now I had another precept, following up with this. Yeah, the book of Matthew, chapter 24 and 6. All right, that's why the precepts, they share the same testament. The precepts, they share the same sentiment. All right, where it says, all right, the book of Matthew, chapter 24 and 6, and it reads, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. Okay, because and that's what's going on right now. Wars and rumors of war. All right, you have the situation with China and Taiwan. That is a rumor of war. You have Russia going to war with Ukraine. That is a war. All right, and everybody's shook. Everybody knows in the back of their mind that if that blows up, all right, if that blows out, it's gonna turn into a World War III, a nuclear war, right? And guess what? That's where the world is heading into. Okay, and it's all spoken of in the scriptures. All right, it's all prophesied in the scriptures, man. Okay, and that's what makes this the truth. Not no Quran. All right, not no plantation Christianity. Okay, not no Islam, right? Which I said that through the Quran, right? Not no Buddhism, none of that, man. All right, but in the scriptures, in the Bible, is where you will find the prophecies. Okay, so continuing on, Salakia. All right, I'm gonna go into I'm gonna read it once again, Matthew chapter 24 and 6, and it reads, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. All right, see that ye be not troubled. Okay, meaning don't let this be super heavy onto you, to where you start to lose faith and you start to question the Lord, basically. All right, because ultimately He's having this play out as it was written, so that we could be delivered. Okay, that's what it is when the scriptures say all things work together for good that love Him. Because guess what? In the grand scheme of things, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, He's moving these nations to go to war with each other, to what's it called, to weaken Esau. All right, He's weakening Esau. He's crushing his kingdom. All right, which is Babylon. All right, and even the European countries out there in Europe, man. Hey, them countries are in turmoil too. All right, and all that's being done as the great transition. All right, as that transition between who's gonna be the next to rule. All right, who's in the power seat right now is Esau Edom. He's Lucifer right now. He's the light bearer. But who's gonna be the next to sit on that power seat is us, the children of Israel, man. All right, that's why it says in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and 9, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. Okay, because his world is at an end. All right, his world is at an end, and ours is about to begin, and we're gonna rule forever and forever, ever, man. All right, there's not gonna be a cease of us ruling. Okay, so going back to Matthew chapter 24 and 6, I'm gonna read it, from the top again. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of war. All right, China, Taiwan, the U.S. Those tensions that are piling up is a rumor of war, and it might pop off. You know what I'm saying? It might not pop off. I believe it will pop off through the spirit. All right, you got the growing tensions between NATO and Russia and their counterparts. That's what's it called? That's growing and growing. All right, it was just found out that the U.S. is supplying the Ukraine with weapons, and the Russians don't take to that at all, man. All right, hey, it's talking about going to war with each other. That's rumors of war. You know, you have what's it called? I believe if I remember correctly, it's called the Middle Eastern Triangle. All right, which is between Russia, Iran, which is the modern day Persians. All right, and you have Turkey, and that's the prophecy of Ezekiel 38 manifesting itself. All right, they just had a sit down meeting. All right, the leader of Turkey, which is a part of NATO, okay, Vladimir Putin, which is he's the president, or yeah, he's the president of Russia. You know what I'm saying? And then you had I forgot that other dude. He from Iran. He the president of Iran. They just had a sit down. And I read into it. Basically, it turns out Turkey is kind of playing both sides. But real soon, you know what I'm saying? All it takes is for Russia and Iran to give them the good conditions or whatnot. Something that the Turks desire, and they'll fall in line with them, man. They'll come into their fold. All right, and that's ultimately the book of Ezekiel 38 being made manifest. Okay, but continue on, and it reads, "See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." All right, because we're not at the end yet. All hell hasn't broken loose yet. All right, but it's about to break loose, man. All right, we're in the all hell breaking loose. It's literally at the door. Our salvation is nearer than when we believe, man. All right, so continuing on in the reads, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." All right, and that's the best place to put it. Where we at right now, in the scriptures, we're in the beginning of sorrows, man. All right, wars, rumors of wars. All right, famines that's about to break out. All them food plants being destroyed here in Babylon. All right, it's numbered on the hundreds, and that's just this year. Okay, continuing on. All right, what else does it say? Pestilences. Yeah, you got the monkeypox outbreak. It's growing larger and larger in number, and the crazy thing is, the main people that's being affected by this, all right, is all right. So like, there's somebody trying to call in, man. You know what I'm saying? But now the main people that's being affected by this is the alphabet community. That's the judgment on them. For doing things that's unnatural to the man. You know what I'm saying? Which we could grab that in the book of Romans. Because that's one of the things, that the scriptures, all right, that's one of the things that Yahweh Shimi Hawashai, condemns, man. Is that wicked lifestyle, man? That Sodom and Gomorrah lifestyle. But guess what? This wicked ass devil in this kingdom, he promotes that. He pushes that onto our kids. That's why I was saying earlier, brothers are so reluctant on having kids in Babylon. Hey, I myself, it's like that too. What would I give to have a young prince and raise him up in the ways of righteousness and see him grow and see him, you know what I'm saying, increase the household name, right? But you can't do that in this country because this place is wicked. Which really you shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a, inward desire that I have, and it's going to be fulfilled, in the kingdom. All right. But really, if you know what I'm saying, you in this truth, man, you see what's going on, you shouldn't really want to, desire to want to have kids. The scripture says, woe unto those that give suck in that day, man, because you're gonna be going through Jacob's trouble, and you still have to, sustain your family and kids, man. You know what I'm saying? But hey, we're gonna go to the book of Romans, chapter 2. All right, let me see. You know, we're gonna start from we're gonna start in not chapter 2. We're gonna start at Romans chapter 1 and 18. All right, and it reads, "For the wrath of Yahweh is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who told truth in unrighteousness, because that which may be known of Yahweh is manifest in them, for Yahweh hath showed it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse." All right, and they are not without excuse, man. Okay, because we out here week in, week out, you know, telling people what the right way is. You know what I mean? Hey, in the scriptures it tells you plainly, a man shall not lie with a man as with a woman. This devil still does it, man. All right, this devil pushes that. It's okay. They got rights. They even try to, you know, make stupid ass excuses like, why has the Lord made me thus? You know, like, who are you to question the Most High, man? You know what I'm saying? That's one of the main excuses of the damn alphabet community. Oh, if he hates you so much, why did he make us? You know what I'm saying? And no, he made you, you know, because ultimately it's about to be a judgment put on this place. All right, not just for you, but everything that is wicked, as an example of what not to be, and as an example of what happens when you have a kingdom that promotes wickedness as Babylon. All right, that's the reason why, man. Okay, it's continuing on in the reads, because that when they knew the Most High, they glorified him not as the Most High, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools and changed the glory of the incorruptible power into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things. All right, basically going into idolatry. All right, wherefore the Most High also gave them up to uncleanness through the lusts of their own heart, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of the Most High into a lie, and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause the Most High gave them up into vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use that into that which is against nature, and likewise unto the men. All right, and likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, men with men, working that which is unseemly. All right, and that is unseemly. Hey, that is unseemly, man. You see two dudes, you know, holding hands in public, man. That shit is unseemly. You know, you see the Transformers. That shit is unseemly. It's like, yo, what the fuck am I looking at? I'm supposed to be looking at this shit. You know what I'm saying? But that's what this devil enables in this wicked ass kingdom. All right. And you got in the ancient times, you had Sodom and Gomorrah, and you know how they went out. All right, it was really 4 cities, you know, but you know how they went out. All right, and guess what? This place ain't gonna go out too different, man. All right, this place can go out through nuclear destruction. It's gonna be as Sodom and Gomorrah according to the precepts, man, according to the scriptures, all right, which we're gonna bring out through the Spirit. Lord willing. So continuing on, and it reads, all right, and receiving in them that recompense of the error which was meet. Okay, and that's what it is. They gonna receive that recompense, meaning that reward, which that reward is nothing pleasant for their wicked ways, man. They gonna receive being caught up in these plagues leading up to the missiles destroying this place. The Lord might preserve, you know what I'm saying, those that are that are here, you know, living wickedness unto to be destroyed by the missiles, man. All right. So going back to Matthew's, you know, chapter 24, which I believe that was it on that. You know, we reached, all that's the beginning of sorrows. All right. So we're going to go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38. You know, touch upon what's going on out there in the Middle East. All right. Because that is a prophecy that is being, you know what I'm saying, that is being, you know, that is being made manifest. All right. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, which goes into how, you know, Russia is going to have their counterparts, you know, and that's by ways that's going to lead to the destruction of this kingdom and all the wickedness that's herein. Okay, so the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, verse 1, and it reads, "And the word of Yahweh Shemi Havushai came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesied against him. All right, so Gog, the land of Magog, all right, that's talking about them Russians. Okay, you look at that on the map. I did, countless lessons on it. Brothers did their lessons too, man. All right, verse 3, and say, thus said Yahweh Yahushai, our power, behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth. Okay, and that's going into how Yahweh Yahushai is literally forcing these Russians to go to war. He's literally putting that spirit on these Russians to go to war. All right, because guess what? He had a few years ago, maybe 4 years ago, you had Vladimir Putin. He's the president of Russia. He held a meeting with, a journalist. Western journalists. That's what he did. He held a meeting with Western journalists. All right, and he basically was giving them warning to warn their, so that their companies, their respective companies, could go out there and put that warning out. He was giving them warning that the world is heading into a irreversible direction, and if things don't change, the outcome isn't going to be pleasant. Basically, he was alluding to, he was alluding towards a World War III and a nuclear war. All right, that's going to be the irreversible direction, and we've been past the point of no return, man. All right, we've been past the point of no return. Now Russia's taking over the Ukraine. Okay, now they gearing up against NATO and the EU. All right, they're cutting off certain pipelines. Why? Because they about to get it in with each other, man. Okay, the whole Europe just cut off the Russian fuel. And that's hurting the Europeans more than the Russians. Why? Because they about to get it in with each other, man. All right. So continuing on, and it reads, all right, and I'll bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses, and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, and Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. All right, so Persia, which is the modern day Iran, they are going to be with them. Ethiopia, them Kushites, they're going to be with them. All right, those Ethiopians over there, they're going to be with them. All right, because they're anti-Babylonian. If you really look at those regions, all right, America did, Babylon did a number on that region, man. Okay, Libya too. I think it was that dude Muammar Gaddafi. He came out of Libya. He was, for the people. He was loved by his people. He wanted to, do the best for his country, right? And what these elites, he didn't want no central bank in his country because he didn't want these elites controlling his country, right? So what did the elites do? Through their muscle Babylon. They had the CIA go over there and raise up insurgents against Gaddafi, and they overthrew him. They took him out of power. They killed him. All right, and ultimately they destabilized that whole region. That whole region is in chaos now. Okay, that whole region is in chaos. All right, that's why Libyans and Ethiopians, they're gonna be with the Russians too, man. All right, because they done, they were destabilized. They done been, ran through by these Babylonians, or by these Americans, and what is called basically geopolitics. All these terrorist groups over there, all these insurgencies to fight their proxy wars, man. Okay, and these nations, they don't fuck with that, man. All right, that's why. Let me see. It reads in the book of Isaiah chapter 14. All right, going back to Isaiah chapter 14. That's why it reads there. All right, let me see. Yeah, I have to put more tape on this thing. All right, but Isaiah chapter 14 and 6. All right, it reads, "He who smote the people in wrath." Now, who's that he talking about? That's talking about Esau, Edom. All right, but mainly that's talking about how he did that by ways of America and the CIA and their military, going and destabilizing countries. Okay, it says, "He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke." All right, because ever since this place was founded, all right, it hasn't been a period that this place was not in war, man. America has always constantly been at war at one point or another, man. Always been at war. It's never really been a period of peace here in Babylon. I think you can count in one hand how many years of peace this place had. All right, it's always been at war. It's always been, somewhere else, going to war with some heathens and whatnot, you know, in order to boost their, you know, their interest, which really their interest is the interest of the elites, you know, to set up the central banks in different countries and whatnot. Right. So continuing on, and oh, sorry, yeah, he ruled the nations in anger and is persecuted and unhindered. All right, so finishing up with that piece. All right, so it's a reason why you're gonna have, you know, countries out there that's gonna want to side with Russia. Okay, and Turkey is one of those countries, man. All right, they don't like taking orders from America, man. You know, if I'm not mistaken, they used to be enemies in World War I. You know, and here it is. They're supposed to be in the same, you know, alliance. They don't like taking orders from no America, man. You know, them Turks, man. Hey, you know, same way Russia used to be, you know, the great, you know, communist country of, you know, of the Soviet Union, right? The same way that used to be Russia. They used to be called the USSR or whatnot. Hey, Turkey, you know, even before that, they used to be the Ottoman Empire. You don't think that those Turks want to go back to their former glory? Hey, Russia with Putin, they want to go back to their former glory, right? So guess what? The way, hey, I speak as a man, you know, that the way that Russia, Iran, and, you know, if they have a meeting again, hey, they might enable them to tell them and be like, hey, listen, man, y'all used to be the Ottoman Turks, man. If you join us and you say fuck these Western, you know, countries, you know what I'm saying? Hey, we'll support you in going back to your former glory. You think them Turks are not gonna want to accept that? They're gonna accept that, man. All right, because they don't like taking orders. They've always, you know, showed that, you know, in the different, you know, political things that happen. I'm not going to get into it, you know, but, you know, different political things that happen. It's very clear that that's always been their sentiment. They don't want to take no damn orders from no Babylonians, from no French, from no fucking Germans. You know what I'm saying? They wanna go back to their former glory, man. All right. So I'm gonna read it again, but not read it again. I'm gonna continue on. All right, and it reads Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. All right, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarter and all his bands, and many people with thee. All right, so Gomer and Togarmah, if you go into the map into those regions, that's talking about them Turks, man. The Turkey. All right, that's talking about them, and they're going to be joined unto Russia. Okay, and that's what's taking place right now. That's the prophecy that's manifesting itself. They just had to sit down. The rulers of each nation just had to sit down there, man. All right, and they're going to join forces, man. All right. So continuing on, and it reads, all right, in verse 7, it reads, be thou prepared and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto you, and be thou a guard unto them. Meaning Russia's going to be the main one that's going to support them, all right? Because you have Iran, which is the modern day Persians. You know, they want to move on Israel, all right? They want to move on them 1948ers, them small hats, all right? Those imposters, they want to move on them, okay? And then you have Turkey that wants to be, you know, deep down they want to be the Ottoman Empire again, all right? And you got Russia that wants to be the Soviet Union, and ultimately, you know, it's all because they want to. Each nation wants to hold that preeminence over the rest of the world, okay? Because what happened was the book of Psalms chapter 83. All right, this is what happened. All right, which I'm gonna lay the foundation with Psalms chapter 2. All right, what happened was they wanted to take us out of rulership, right? They didn't want to have us, you know, rule over them, be on top. You know what I'm saying? Be the center of the universe, for lack of a better term, right? So what happened is they all formed together, you know, to get rid of that. All right. So Book of Psalms chapter 2, verse 1, and it reads, "Why do the heathen rage, and the people imagine a vain thing? And the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us." All right, that's what they want. They don't want Israel to be the top nation. They don't want Israel. They don't want us to be the monument, to be on top. All right, to be over them. Okay, they want to be the number one. All right. So what did they do? They came together and they planned. All right, that's why, you know, Scripture says, you know, we just read, why do the heathen rage? All right, you go into the Hebrew word for rage. it doesn't have anything to do with the motion. It has to do with councils and schemes, man. All right, meetings, plans, and schemes. That's what they do. Which still take place to this day, man. They come together in secret and discuss, how they gonna keep us oppressed, how they gonna keep us going off, all right, how they gonna keep us from, coming back to who we are, which for the most part that may work on those that Yahweh Shemi Shai doesn't want to come into this thing, as a manifestation of Isaiah chapter 6 and 9 and Romans 7 and 11, right? But the elect is gonna wake up regardless. Okay, so really, their works are in vain. All right, but going to the book of Psalms chapter 83. All right, this is the confederacy that took place. Okay, and it reads, starting from the top, it reads, "Keep not thou silent, O Yahweh, and hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For though thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head." Okay, so the enemies, who are the enemies? These are the heathen nations, which is getting ready to be listed down. Scripture's going to expound upon it and list them. All right, what do they make? They make a tumult, meaning a scheme, a hidden device, an agenda. All right, it reads, "They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and have consulted against thy hidden ones. And they have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance." So they got together and they made a confederacy, and they schemed and planned to make us no more be a nation, to make us forget to who we were. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, they don't want Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai to be worshipped in the world. They rather, they want to put their own preeminence this year. All right, it's really like a jealousy thing. That's really what it is. It's a jealousy thing. These heathens jealous that Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai chose us. These heathens jealous that we the salt of the earth, that they kids, follow our trends and want to be like us. They jealous that we supposed to, that our rightful position in the world is to be on top of all these nations. That's what they're jealous of. Hey, and if I was a heathen, I'd be jealous too. Shit. You know what I'm saying? But hey, let's continue on going with the precepts. All right, it reads, "They have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee." All right, so they are confederate. That's the confederacy that the scriptures is talking about. These nations getting together against us. All right, and ultimately against Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, because we're his monument. Okay. So continuing on, this is where it lists these nations. All right, the tabernacles of Edom, all right, which is a so-called white man, and the Ishmaelites, which is our crazy uncle, Ishmael, the so-called Arabs, all right, of Moab, which Moab is the so-called Chinese, all right, and the Hagarenes, that's going into the Hamite countries, if I remember correctly, Gebal and Ammon. All right, Ammon is the so-called Ammon is the so-called Japanese. That's what they are. All right, and Amalek is the 1948ers and small caps that are in our land right now. Those imposters, okay, so-called Jewish people, all right, which they wish to be a Jew, all right, but are not. The Philistines of the inhabitants of Tyre. So that's the Hamites, all right, the real Africans, okay, because see that's one of the covering cast and deceptions that Esau put out there is he calls the Southern Kingdom, which is the so-called Negroes, all right, the darker skinned tribes, he calls them Hamites, he calls them Philistines, African Americans, all right, trying to put that cloak over them to keep them from coming back to who they really are. You know what I'm saying? And you see, it has had an effect on those that are, that are that are lost and are blinded. On the 2/3, Scripture says, "If my gospel be hid, it is hid from them that are lost." No, it's like it's hid to them that are lost. All right, because you got, certain Jakes that have came against us in the past. All right, and they might, continue to come against us, to this day. Where they want to cleave onto that Hamite shit. They want to go into Egyptology. All right, the Kemetic community. You know what I'm saying? They want to go into all that, which that has nothing to do with us, man. All right, our background, our identity, all right, is being a Hebrew Israelite. Our power is Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. That's our heavenly Father. Our Savior, all right, is Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Christ, and our customs and traditions is Lash's commandments written in this book, man. All right, prophecies too, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it was in our people to prophesy, you know, and ultimately to let them know, let the world know, and the kingdoms know what Yahweh Shemi Hawashai is going to do unto them. That's why precepts say, you know, the ancient men of old that prophesied against many kingdoms, and you know, roughly paraphrased. You know, that's who we are, spiritual power. You know, you got the account of Samson, you know, with a jawbone of an ass, you know, running through people, man. What other glorious, you know, what other culture do you want, man? You know, what other culture, you know, what more could you ask for, man? You know, King David, King Solomon, you know, that's us. All right, those are us. You know, the people that are above all the other people in the world. That's who we are, man. All right, but not Jake wants to fucking, I don't know, maybe he had a fascination, you know, with the pyramids and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, you know, that's why he wants to get into Kemet, not knowing that we the ones that built the dang pyramids, man. You know what I'm saying? That we the ones that built them pyramids. Hey, you go to Issachar land, you know, in Mexico, they got better pyramids over there, you know, because that's who, you know, we are the salt of the earth. We're the best of the best. All right, what more could you want? You know, but that's the effect that Esau has done unto our people. That's the effect that confederacy of these different nations coming together to mislead us and oppress us has done to our people. All right, but guess what? That confederacy is basically done away with. Like, yeah, you know, they agree on, you know, trying to take us down, but you know, Esau was the one that was, you know, held his preeminence, you know, against the nations. But now we're coming into a time where Yahweh Shemi Hawashai is putting into the minds of these different, you know, kings and of these different nations, you know, to where they want to desire to have that preeminence. All right, and with that, we're going to go to the book of Proverbs chapter 21. You know, just to lay the foundation of you know what we're talking about basically. All right, so Proverbs chapter 21 and 1, and it reads, "The king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will." All right, and that's the thing. These nations. All right, now that we're at the bottom, you know, now who's on top? Esau was on top. He ruled nations with anger. These nations think that they could do it better now. You know, they think that they could do it better with Esau. All right, and it's not about a spirit of equity. See, these nations, they don't want equity. All right, these nations want to be on top. Everybody else wants to be on top except our people, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. That's what it is. Hey, Shalom, the brother from Zebulon, man. Hey, Yahaba Shemashah Barakatah. You know what I'm saying? But everybody wants equity. You know, it's like everybody wants preeminence except us, man. And it's very frustrating to see. You know, especially so-called Latinos, man. They want, oh, we're all God's children, and we're all the same, and this, and that. No, man. That's not what these other nations think. And it's not about what they think. It's about what they know. Because really they know, you know, the nations in their upper echelons, they know who we are. Okay, the elites of these different nations, they know who we are. All right, they know that when we get right with our power, we repent. That Yahweh Shemi Hawashai takes down whatever kingdom is in rulership, destroys it, and puts us on top. Okay, puts us back on top where we truly should be. You know, you see, Jake is just lost. You know, because they grew up in school. You know, they teach them about the Constitution. All men are created equal. Right? So they harp on that, they cleave onto that philosophy, not knowing that when those lines were being wrote, you had slaves picking cotton, man. You know, but all men were created equal, right? You know what I'm saying? It's just frustrating, you know, with Jake, man. It's lucky you're not going into a tangent, all right? But that's what, you know, that's the predicament of Jake's mind. That's why the gospel is hit unto them. You know, and it's not to switch the subject, because, you know, going back to these nations, they want that preeminence, man. Okay, they want that. They want to be on top. They want to be the next light bearer. All right, the next Lucifer. Okay, and further go into that, we're going to go into the book of Obadiah, chapter 1. All right, let me see. So we're going to go to Obadiah chapter 1. All right, verse 7. All right, and it reads, "All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border." Okay, now this is a book in the scripture, one of the smallest books, but it's also one of the most potent ones. All right, because it's mainly prophesying against Esau, Edom. All right, and we know who the Edomites are, so-called white people. All right, you're gonna have some people that's Israelites that's gonna look like the so-called white people. Some certain Israelite foreigners. You know what I mean? But hey, man, it's talking about Edomites, man. Hebrew Edomites. All right, it's prophesying against them, their elite, their kingdoms, and ultimately their place in this world. All right, so it reads, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and have prevailed against thee. All right, so that confederacy, you know what I'm saying, is turning against Esau, Edom. All right, these other nations that were with Esau, right, when it came to taking us down. Okay, guess what? Now they want, now in this stage, now they want the rulership. All right, they want to be that preeminent, nation. They want to be top one. They want the world following after their ways, right? Going back into it, it reads, all right, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. All right, now that that specific line right there, they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, is because ultimately these other nations, going back to Revelations chapter 18, they drink the wrath of the wine of her fornication, right? They're basically going into this Western philosophy, the Western ways of living. These other nations have adopted that. All right, so they've eaten the bread of this devil. They've eaten his Western philosophies and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And they adopted that. But guess what? They took that and they used that. All right, and they laid a wound under him because ultimately they want that preeminence. They about to try to undermine Esau's rulership. All right, that's why, hey man, a good way to show that, you know what I'm saying, is you look at the different militaries of these different nations. Man. You look at their different militaries; they all model themselves the same way as Esau's military here in Babylon. They all model themselves the same way. They all want to be like the Navy SEALs and the SAS and whatnot. The Delta Force and whatnot. They all want to be that special forces operator and shit. You know what I'm saying? Even the lower level grunts, man, with the helmets and everything, the camouflage and everything. They all model themselves after Esau Edom. Because he had that preeminence, man, and his empire stretched, throughout the four corners of the earth. You got an example. You got the British Empire, right? They had India under control, which was the East. If I'm not mistaken, they had some parts of China under their control. They had the biggest navy in the world, so they held that preeminence. These nations were always following after Esau when Yahweh Shem Yahshua put them on top. All right, but guess what? In the kingdom that is to come, all right, in the true world order that where we're going to be the ones ruling under Yahweh Yahweh Shai. Okay, guess what? We're going to hold the preeminence, and they're going to model themselves and be like us, man. All right, no more. You're not going to be seeing heathens, clean shaven in the kingdom, man. You're going to see them with beards. You're going to see masculinity back in full fruition. All right, none of that, woman worshiping and all that sin shit. None of that's going to happen, man. Hey, these heathens going to love it too, man. Because guess what? That means that they're going to be able to have multiple wives in the kingdom, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, hold on, brother. Hey, Shalom, Mak Yahaba Shim Shah Brakatah. Back at it again with a part 2, man. But that's what's going on right now. It's a power struggle of preeminence amongst these nations, man. All right, and you can see it because they all want to be on top. They all want to be number one. Okay, so where was I going with this? All right, continuing on with Obadiah chapter 1 and 7, and it reads, and they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is none understanding in him. All right, because there's no understanding in this devil, man. All right, so going back to continuing on to the book of Joel chapter 3. All right, let me see. Let me just find it right quick. Matter of fact, I think it was before Obadiah. No, that's Amos. Yeah, there it is. All right, so that's why we have this going on. The book of Joel chapter 3, verse 9, and it reads, proclaim ye this amongst the Gentiles, prepare war, and wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, and let them come up. So these nations are gearing towards war. All right, it's a spirit of war amongst these nations because they seek that preeminence. They know that Esau's weakened. They know Esau's on his way out. All right, and he's not going to have that for much longer. So what? They desire to be, you know what I'm saying, the next ones to rule. All right, which really is the Yahweh Shem Yahushai, you know, putting the spirit into them to do this. Okay? He's putting the spirit into them because he's weakening Esau. You know, he's raising up these other nations. All right, and they're going to get together and try to fight it out. But guess what? That's because Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he's a man of war, man. All right? He's a man of war. We're going to continue on. We're going to go into that. It reads, verse 10. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. And let the weak say, I am strong. All right? And going into that is because, you know, beating their plowshares into swords and their pruning hooks into spears, these heathens are not investing in anything other than their militaries. And they've been doing that for the past few decades. You know, there's been articles that came out talking about that, how, you know, the military investment of the whole world has been, you know, basically broken out of proportion in the last few decades. And that's because Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he's a man of war, man. He doesn't want to fight these heathens when they all weak and they, you know, put a whole bunch of money into their agriculture, you know what I'm saying, their technology, you know, their societies and their social stuff. No, man, he wants to fight these elite, I mean, not these elites, these heathens when they're at their strongest, man. When they're at their pinnacle, when they got all these fighter jets, when they got all these nukes, they got all these, you know, guns that could, you know, shoot 1,000 bullets per minute type shit. You know what I'm saying? That's when he wants to fight the elite, and he's going to have hey man, he's going to have what's it called in Mortal Kombat? You know what I'm saying? He's going to have a flawless victory, man. All right, it's going to be a flawless victory. Okay, continuing on in the reads, assemble yourselves, so I can beat your pruning hooks into spears, and let the weak say, I am strong. All right, which that was, you know, what these other nations were, you know, you know, I'd say like, you know, maybe 50, 60, 80 years ago, you know, the nations were weak compared to Esau. You know what I'm saying? Because Esau had that, they had that nuclear bomb, you know, and they were weak. But now that they're putting all their money and their, you know, their resources into their militaries and their nuclear capabilities, now they're not weak anymore. Now they're strong. All right. Now they looking at Esau like, yeah, bro, we got something for your ass if you try to, you know what I'm saying, if you try to come and impose your bullshit on us. You know, hey, another example is the Russians. You know, hey, we gave a, you know, Ottoman Empire, the Russians. Hey, let's talk about the Russians, man. You know, the Russians, before they were Russia, right? Who were they? They were the Soviet Union. Okay, they were the Soviet Union. You know, this is modern history. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going into like the ancient times, but let's go into like in the 20th century, all right, how, you know, the government switched up in Russia. Before, you know, they were who they are now, which is, you know, Russia. They were the Soviet Union. They had control over a lot of countries in Europe. A lot of the Eastern countries. You look up the Iron Curtain. They had control over all that. You know, they were strong. But I guess, you know, what happened was they, you know, the economy fell. They collapsed. You know, the government collapsed. All right. I don't know exactly what transpired. I don't know too deep into what happened, but they, you know, they had a economic recession and they collapsed. A lot of the countries that were under their control, you know, flipped towards the west. You know, so they became weakened. All right, that's what happened. Then what happened was Putin came into power. All right, and then guess what? He started strengthening up the Russians and girding them up and raising up the Russians. Now they're strong. Let the weak say, I am strong. And what better display of that than taking over a whole country out there in Europe, man? What better display of saying I'm strong than taking over Ukraine and then just a full-out invasion of the Ukraine? The scriptures are speaking, man. All right. Continuing on in the reads. All right. Verse 11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. All right, and that's going into, you know, that battle when Yahweh Shai breaks the clouds, all right, with the thousands of heavens with them chariots and rains down laser beams on these heathens, man. And the scriptures do talk about laser beams. They actually expound on the elemental properties of the laser beams. All right, and we're gonna get that in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 13. All right, we're gonna hit. We're just gonna start from the top, okay? Because this is what's getting ready to happen. That's why everything is coming into fruition, man. And them same chariots that's gonna be raining laser beams on these heathens and jacking these heathens up, all right, they're going to be the same chariots that beam us up into salvation. You know, that's why the scripture says, "Look up, for your redemption draweth nigh." Because hey, you see a chariot, that's your big brothers in the heavens, man. All right. If I'm not mistaken, the Native Americans used to call them our star brothers. Okay. So, anyways, the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 13, verse 1, and it reads, "And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heavens. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him." All right, because guess what, man? Even though these heathens, starting with Esau, Edom, even though they're at their glory, all right, as far as technology and all that, and their military and all that, their weapons and their militaries will not hold a candle against Yahweh Shai, against the angels. All right, because this is the carnal versus the spiritual. All right, and you best believe, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it's gonna be super. The Lord's gonna take them down through supernatural means, man. All right. See what the brother said? Yeah, Romans 9:17. "For the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for the same purpose, I have raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, that my name is might." Yep. "And be declared throughout all the earth." Yeah, God. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what's going on. You know what I'm saying? These heathens are at their pinnacle of their power, you know? And they're not going to light a candle against Yahweh Shai when he comes back. The name of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is going to be feared, all right? Pursuing the Psalms chapter 9, yeah, the whole world has forgotten Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. They have forgotten the living power, okay? That's why they out there worshiping, you know, statues and different fucking, you know, philosophies and religions and ideologies. That's why they're doing that, man. All right, but guess what? In the kingdom, man, hey, they're going to be set back in order, man. They're going to be set in order. They're going to be worshiping and fearing the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. They're going to have the spirit of Rahab on them. You know, that harlot from, you know, that Harlem, I believe she was in the city of Jericho. You know, when she saw the Israelites, and they came in, you know, they came in as spies. Joshua sent them to be spies, and she took them in. And what did she want? She wanted that witness protection, man. You know what I'm saying? She wanted that witness protection, you know, because she knew that the name of Yahweh Shai was great. He just jacked up them Egyptians, and she didn't want no parts of that smoke, man. You know what I'm saying? So she took an ancient form of witness protection for her and her whole family, you know, and hey, that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? Because that was that fear. All right, these heathens are going to be in fear, man. Okay, so going back to 2 Ezra chapter 13, verse 3. All right, sorry, not verse 3, verse 4. And it reads, "And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire." All right, that's going into the laser beams. "And after this, I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the earth to subdue the man that came out of the sea." All right, so a multitude of men out of number is a representation of all, is basically the collective of all these different heathen militaries that's going to try to come up and fight against Yahweh Shai and in his chariot, which is the so-called UFOs, man, and the angels with them. All right, that's what that is. They're gonna try to fight against Yahweh Shai and the angels. All right, so continuing on, and it reads, all right, "But I beheld, and lo, he had raised himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region, all right, I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, and I could not." All right, and that's going into the description of the chariot, the so-called UFO, that Yahweh Shai is coming. All right, you could see, you know, you try to see, you know, where it started. It's basically saying it was so huge you couldn't see the ends of the ship. Okay, continuing on, and it reads, "And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, and yet their spite." All right, because they won't even know what it is that's going to hit them, man. All right, hey, the elites might know, you know. Verse 9, "And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand nor held a sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire." Oh, now this This is where it goes into the characteristics of the laser beams. Okay, but I only saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. Meaning that what's going out of this is pure energy, and it's gonna be, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna, go into, the deep vocabulary, but it's all gonna mix together and be a laser beam. A blast of fire, represents like how explosive it's gonna be. It says, yeah, a blast of fire, represents the speed and explosiveness of the laser beams. The flaming breath represents the heat. All right, and out of his tongue he cast out. Yeah, everything good, man. I'm just doing the live stream. I'm about to wrap it up in like 20 minutes. Oh, of course, good. All right, man. You take care. Yeah. Hey, man, that was a chair. Hey, man, that was a centurion right there, man. Scriptures talk about agree with thine adversary quickly, man. See, a lot of jakes, man, they don't understand that right now we at the bottom and these devils are, you know what I'm saying, over us. You know what I mean? Hey, man, a lot of jakes get put to death with the sword. You gotta just agree with your adversary quickly, man. Yeah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? About to wrap it up in 10 minutes or so. And then he kept it moving. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. Continuing on, and it reads, all right, flaming, so like they were all mixed together, or it's like, and its lips, a flaming breath, out of his tongue, he cast out sparks and tempests. All right, so the heat, the explosivity of the laser beams, right, the sparks and tempests, which make up the component, the energy. You know what I'm saying? The pure energy is sparks and tempests, right? Continuing on, verse 11, they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight. Okay, and that's what happened. All right, they were all cast together. All right, the blast of fire, the flaming tempest, which is the heat. All right, and the sparks in the tempest. And what did it say? And the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitudes which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived but only dust and the smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was sore afraid. Okay, so those is going into the characteristics of the laser beams, man. All right, let me see how much time we got into this 52. We gonna go into a few minutes, man. A few more minutes, and we gonna close out with this thing. All right, so that's what is coming to pass. That's why Yahweh Shem Shai is having all these things, come to pass. And in the midst of these things, it's gonna be plagues in the world, man. Jacob's trouble. All right, which we're gonna touch on that. We're gonna hit that in the book of Daniel's chapter. You know what I'm saying? The book of Daniel's, chapter 12. All right, let me see. Yeah, so the book of Daniel, chapter 12 and 1, and it reads, and at that time Michael shall stand up, the great prince, which standeth up for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was, since there was such as never was, since there was a nation, even to that same time, and at that same time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. All right. So, hey, man, that's the times that's coming. Okay. And it's the reason why we say don't fear, because ultimately it's for the deliverance of the elect. All right. Yahweh Shem Shai is getting everything together, is setting the stage for our salvation, and ultimately so we could have that preeminence. All right. So we could be above all these nations. That's why it reads in the book of let me see, in the book of Revelations chapter 2. All right. Book of Revelations chapter 2, verse 25, it reads, but that which ye have already hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. All right, so it says, to him that overcometh and doeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. Okay, meaning we're going to be set on top, the elect. All right, because that's the him that keeps the works and keeps the faith unto the end. Roughly paraphrasing. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter, they shall be broken to shivers, even as I have received of my Father. All right? And that's what's going to happen when the elect get raised up, man. All right, when the elect get beamed up into the chariots and that, you know what I'm saying, America's destroyed. All right, we gonna come see these other nations, man. We gonna come see these other. We gonna subjugate these other nations. All right, it's gonna be a global invasion. Okay, a global invasion. All right, so let's go to the next precept. All right, I have one lined up. Let me see. It's in my mind. Let me try to remember it again. All right, so boom, we went to Revelation chapter 2. All right, let me see. Damn, man, I forgot the precept. Man, that really messed me up, man. Let me see if it comes back to me. All right, it might be just the Spirit telling me to wrap it up. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, Book of Isaiah chapter 40, man. How could I forget the title that led to the, you know, inspired the title of the lesson. You know what I'm saying? We all in this flesh though. You know, we not perfect. All right, so Isaiah chapter 40, man. All right, let's get into it. Let me see. Is it 41? No, so like it's the book of Isaiah chapter 41. Okay. So, all right, so the book of Isaiah chapter 41, verse 13. All right, and it reads, "For I, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, thy power, will hold thy right hand, saying unto thee, fear not, I will help thee." Okay, so in the midst of these plagues and all this hell breaking loose, all right, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to help us. He's going to sustain us. He's going to feed us. He feeds the birds. He feeds the wild animals. How much more his elect? You know, according to the scriptures, as it was written. You know, so it reads, "Fear not, thou worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel. I will help thee, said Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. Behold, I will make thee a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth." All right, "and thou shalt thresh the mountains and beat them small, and shall make the hills as chaff." Okay, so we're gonna be made a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth. I mean, when we get raised up, we get beamed up into the chariots, as it was written in the book of Revelation chapter 11. All right, we're gonna inherit those incorruptible bodies, and those incorruptible bodies will have the ability to do supernatural things. That's where they get all these superhero things from. They get them from the scriptures, man. All right, they all take inspiration from the scriptures. As I was saying earlier, you got the TV series, The Stranger Things. That girl, she had the power to manipulate minds. So when the police rolled up and the police were trying to capture them, she basically got into the minds of all those police and made them believe that there was nobody in that space that they were in. You know, there was they were in a room. You know, they came in and the room was empty to them. But really, they were there. You know, that's what, and they get that from what? Isaiah 59 and 19. You know, going to the word naas, which is the word standard in Isaiah 59 and 19. You know, that's the what's it called? One of the definitions is to disappear. You know, to become invisible in people. All right, nothing's impossible with Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. You know, continuing on, and it reads, I'm reading it again, verse 15. "Behold, I will make thee a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth." All right, so when we get raised up, we're going to be a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth. These different nations, these people will not be able to hold a candle against us, man. Okay, and that's when it's going to be known. All right, that's when it's going to really manifest what it is to be Yasharala, a prince of the power, a child of the Most High. That's what it means. All right, continuing on in the reads, "Thou shalt thresh the mountains and beat them small, and shalt make the hills as chaff." Meaning, because these mountains and they represent these other nations. These mountains represents the nations. Meaning, we're going to go to these other nations, these other mountains, and we're going to beat them small. I mean, we're going to be putting in work on these devils, man. All right, not just they are part, they are devils, but we're going to be putting in work on these heathens too, man. And we're going to subjugate them. All right, continuing on, it reads, "And beat them small, and shall make the hills as chaff." All right. Now, the crazy thing is, we go into the word hill. All right, in this precept in particular. All right, in Isaiah chapter 41 and 15, one of the definitions is an illicit place of worship. All right, and you best believe these, heathens, especially these secret societies, they got their little spots where they do rituals and stuff. Man, I can't wait. Lord willing, I'm up that number, man. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna make it rain fire and brimstone on those places, man. All right, let's see a brother put up another precept. All right, let me see. Yeah, Second Ezra chapter 13 and 8. Yeah, 13 and 38. And shall lay before them their evil thoughts and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor by the law, which is like unto me. And then took they up stones, or so I can go into another precept, John chapter 8 and 59. Then took they up stones to cast at him, but Yahushua hid himself and went out of the temple, going through the midst of them, and so passed by. Yep, exactly. That's one of the accounts of invisibility, man. All right, because they were gonna kill him, and then he just went in the midst of them. They couldn't see him. You know what? What is that? What is that? That's invisibility. That's the water for that precept, Doc. That's the precept I was paraphrasing, earlier into the live camp on the part one. They get these things from the scriptures, man. All right. So let me see. So going into Isaiah chapter 41, verse 16, and it reads, "Thou shalt fan them, and the wind shall carry them away, and the whirlwind shall scatter them, and thou shalt rejoice in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and shalt glory in the Holy One of Israel." All right, and that's what's going to happen. We're going to be given a glory. All right, the high praise of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai will be in our mouths and a two-edged sword in our hand, man. That's what's gonna happen. Okay, and we're gonna, hey, Lord willing, we're of that elect, man. We get delivered, we get raised up, and we take over the world, man. All right, the scripture says the saints shall take the kingdom. Okay, but hey, that's gonna be, the conclusion. All right, of this week's camp. All right, with that, I'm gonna say, Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem God. All right, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who taught us this truth and rule well. All right, Shalom Akim, Tawada Akim for all the scriptures on the common board. On to the next. Shalom.